Let's do it. I just started the recording. Oh no, don't do that. Jesus. Okay. How do we start these? It's been a while. Shit.
I have no idea.
All right.
Oh,
What episode is this? Hang on. This is
episode
this is
5?
all over the place. We're gonna be fine though. This is how we get better. This
Usually you
is
start off by saying, "Hey, this is Sally. Welcome to the Hungry to Horny podcast."
All right. This is 5. This would be 5. Do you need to get something? All right. All right. Let's try to make this intro quick. Hello. Fuck. Already fucked.
He should have said goodbye.
Thank you for clicking on this video. This is Heavy to Hungry podcast, episode number 5. Today we're going to be talking about confidence. I know you're not confident, so we're going to tell you how to be confident. I'm the host, Sally, and we have Carlitos and Isaac here. Carlitos, tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll move on.
Hi, I'm Carlos. I lost 155 pounds. I started at 350 pounds. Now I'm not gonna say now, but I got down to 195, and right now I've been able to keep it off for the last 2 to 3 years, and currently in a bulk, kind of like bulk and cutting down right now. So we're doing pretty good.
And Isaac?
Yeah, what's up? My name's Isaac. I've not lost 150 pounds, but I lost 50 pounds, grew up overweight my whole life. And now I talk about it on social media, what it's like to live a healthy lifestyle as a college kid.
Hell yeah. And I also lost over 120 pounds, closer to 130 pounds. I stepped on a bodybuilding stage, and now I help people do the same. I help people lose 50 plus pounds and keep it off for the rest of their life. So today's topic is confidence, and we kept it very generic because we're going to dive into a lot more specific topics. But what is confidence? So we're just going to start there. Like, what actually is it? To me, confidence is being able to walk into a room with your head up, right? Because I used to walk into rooms with my head down and wearing a big hoodie to cover up my body and wearing like oversized clothing and standing in the corner of a room. So confidence to me is being able to walk into a room and strike up a conversation with a stranger and leave that conversation knowing that you learned something and they learned something from you. That's probably my greatest definition of confidence is being able to talk to a stranger and leave that conversation not feeling more anxious than coming into it. So what's your guys' definition of confidence?
Mine is just how you perceive yourself and how you carry yourself. The way that you walk this earth, the way that you talk, the things that you do. That's my version of how you really perceive your confidence. Because, like for instance, right now I'm the most confident I've ever been compared to when I was younger. Like I was just like Sully. I would put my head down, would just take the hits and things like that. So that would be my definition of confidence.
Yeah, I've got the actual definition of confidence here. I thought was pretty valuable. It says the feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something. So, firm trust. And I think that nails on the head. It's trusting yourself, trusting in your ability to do whatever it is that you're doing, trusting in everything about yourself.
I got one thing. What was that first part you said about the definition?
The feeling or belief that one can rely on someone or something.
So that's that's very good because a lot of people will try to, like, when it says someone, that someone is yourself. A lot of people try to make it where it's like almost like a mask or a wall for other people to see, but it's like how can you be confident how can you be confident to others if you're not going to be confident in yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a great question.
That's amazing, and that's we're getting deep already. I love it. We're starting off nice deep, but dude, that's like very very profound statement because exactly what you said. A lot of people think confidence comes from putting layers on and trying to make yourself look like you're this cool person, and that's how the jocks in high school got all the girls, and that's how the businessmen made all their money. But in reality, the people who have the most confidence strip those layers off and take off of those masks and get closer to their actual soul, like their actual self, and being comfortable with being that person, and being comfortable going into like I was saying before, going into a conversation with a stranger, being exactly that person that you are inside without those masks. So I think that's a really valuable statement. Now, now, I want to talk a little bit more. I'm thinking from the viewer's perspective. Like all three of us used to struggle with confidence issues that stemmed from being overweight, being obese. I was definitely always an introvert, and I don't know about you too, but I'll ask. So, um, uh, give me some examples of when you felt the least confident, when you felt the most insecure. Carlitos, if you had any times in your life.
This, I think a lot of people can relate to this. So growing up fat and everything, of course, I had crushes. I liked girls and things. But then as soon as like somebody had a little bit of interest in me, I always shot it down because I wasn't confident in myself. I was more afraid of getting hurt than I was to actually take that shot and being confident in myself. So like I would just there would be opportunities for me and I'd just shoot it down because I just wasn't confident. I always thought the worst of everything. And that's not really a great way of thinking about things.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'll kind of piggyback on that. My experience was a little bit different. I was very self-conscious because of my weight, and school specifically for me made it worse. I'm sure both of you guys can relate to that. Anybody who's been overweight when they were growing up. So I ended up going to online school. I switched because I hated going to school so much. And then after that, once I got a little bit older, kind of to relay off what Carlita was saying, I would get in very, very toxic relationships because I would rely on them to build my confidence, kind of boost my ego a little bit because I didn't have the foundation to do it myself. So I would get in these situations where I'm with someone who's, not being faithful to me or, treating me very poorly, but because they sprinkle that little bit of validation, that gave me confidence, or what I thought was confidence, and I would just stick with it. And looking back now, that's awful, awful, awful cycle to be through.
Dude, that's incredible. Like there's two different perspectives, but they kind of merge together. Now, I wanted to point something out. So Carlitos said that because of his lack of confidence, he would shoot people down and just completely turn a blind eye to that maybe validation source. I think I relate to Isaac here a little bit, where when someone would come up to me or when someone would give me that validation, I would latch on because I was not confident that I would be able to keep that person in my life.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
that's exactly why I lost 100 pounds in the first place. Why I decided to. That was my why. That we all have foundational whys, meaning uh, if you're overweight, there's always a reason you want to change. But then the people who actually change always have like a tip of the iceberg breaking point, moment where they're like, I'm done. This all needs to change. For me, it was exactly that. Where basically in college, Amanda, if you're watching this, you're definitely not. I appreciate you for changing my life. Thank you for friend zoning me and turning me down. But, anyways, I was friends with this girl who had a boyfriend that was in the military, and he would treat her like shit. And I was her comforting friend that would tell her, oh, you deserve more than that. Oh, blah blah blah. I was the simp. I was the guy who she could cry on, but I would never get anything out of it. I would just give, give, give. So in my head, I just kept saying things like, why does she just continue to like this guy even though he keeps treating her like shit? He cheated on her multiple times. I would never do that. Why don't you like me? I just don't understand. So I latched onto this friendship. Basically, I treated it like I was dating her, but she saw me as literally just a friend, which is normal. Like that's how it should be. I was the one with the problem, and essentially, I asked her to be my girlfriend, and she said no, and I was angry. I was very angry at her, at myself, at the world, and that's what caused me to get to the gym and change my life. And now looking back on it, I was the wrong in the relationship. Or in that friendship. I was the person who was trying to latch on to nothing. I was the person trying to force something that maybe we could have been friends to this day if I wasn't so insecure. So that's a personal story of how I became confident, and it's an uncomfortable conversation you have to have with yourself. Like it's really hard to be like, I suck, I really need to change. It's actually not anyone's fault. So, did any of you have a profound moment like that tip of the iceberg breaking point?
Yeah, I actually did. There's a very specific relationship I'm referring to where um, I did the same thing. I lashed on to her for validation, and we worked together, so it made a bit more sense. But it was unfair for me to rely on that, and it was really weird for me to look back and think like, she was doing these objectively wrong things, being unfaithful, talking to other guys, and I was very very loyal. However, I was putting her in the situation that not necessarily forced her to do that, but neither of us were in the right or the wrong. And it was really hard for me to admit years later that, I was in the wrong just as much as she was, because that was unfair for me to do to her. But my tipping point, that iceberg, was a very similar situation. We broke up, and I was mad, I was angry, but eventually I had to sit down and realize like she's not the one who's got to change. There's nothing I can do to change her. I got to change, and I did, and I'm grateful for it, and it's brought me a long way. But it's a very very hard thing to do, and sit down and admit to yourself that you were wrong.
Yeah.
First off, breakups or girls in general or whatever relationship, that's probably one of the biggest whys for everybody. I mean, I was the same way. What happened with me was I got my first girlfriend and we were together for almost a year. And then all of a sudden she broke up with me. And then from there, that really just, I had kept asking myself, I was like, I had started dating her around like 320 pounds and got up to like my biggest, like 350, 360. And I had just like was every excuse in the book, like who's gonna love me the way I look and things like that. Just not having lack of confidence. And this is where I kind of talk about like confidence and respect go hand in hand. They really do, because like we're talking about our situations here, but there are some situations where this happens and all people do will sit in sorrow or sit in pity, and you got to like ask yourself, like Sully was saying, and having that uncomfortable conversation with yourself. Is that really respecting yourself? Like, there's some people that will think that confidence is like, oh, I gotta get this, I gotta get like designer clothes, I gotta make myself look better, gotta get like materialistic stuff. But then it's not really respecting you. Like, yes, you might have this like aura of confidence coming radiating off you, but then where's the respect?
Hmm.
Like, you're not doing it for yourself.
It's
Yeah.
always so easy to tell when someone's trying to fake confidence rather than when they actually have confidence. Like when you go to the gym, usually the biggest guys in the gym, the most are also the most humble guys in the gym, and are also the guys who wear Walmart oversized sweatpants, Walmart oversized hoodie with a hood on, with their headphones on, in the corner of the gym minding their own business. But the people who you can tell they seethe, like they're literally out of their pores, you could tell they have shame, and they're trying to put a mask on by wearing these crazy outfits and talking to everyone in the gym. And nothing wrong with being social, but I think a lot of people compensate. So I was the opposite. I would compensate for my lack of confidence by being extremely closed off and quiet. Now there are other people who compensate for their lack of confidence by trying to be as social as possible so that they could shut off that voice in their head. Right? There's kind of two different parts of the spectrum. Um, so kind of the what I wanted to ask you or talk about is what what are the first steps to becoming a confident person, right? For me, again, it was that uncomfortable conversation first, sitting down and looking at your past and being like, I was wrong. I am wrong. I I don't have to feel shame or guilt because life will move on, and it's about what I do starting today and tomorrow rather than what has happened in the past, and understanding that. But as far as practical steps, it is picking what you want in life, picking the person you want to be, deciding, making that decision, and then taking one step towards that goal today. So for me, it was obviously losing the weight. And my one step was my roommate dragging my ass to the gym, and I think we hit it like a back day. And I remember, I'll never forget this day where I woke up day after my first ever workout in college after I snapped with that girl, and like I was so fucking sore because I was so angry that I just fucking did like sets on sets on sets for hours because I was just so angry. I'll never forget that day. But anyways, it's It's picking who you want to be, what you want to do in life, where you want to get to, and then just doing one small thing to get there. And then next week you do two small things to get there, and then you just build off on that momentum. So what would you guys say is a good first step for people to, and maybe they're in that phase where they're starting to understand, crap, like I think I'm the problem. I think I need to change. What is the first step that they should take?
I think you nailed it on the head. It's for me, I like to break confidence down almost into a formula. It's picking something you want to change and experience changing it, making a very small, obtainable goal, and you prove to yourself that you can do it. That's how you build confidence. You don't build confidence by talking to yourself in the mirror like I'm going to be confident. I'm beautiful. I have a great physique. You build confidence by obtaining those things slowly but surely, one step at a time, week after week, day after day. I think I think confidence is built day number one in your daily habits.
Hundred
So
percent.
with me, I think my first step was really, first off, you have to come forth of what's the problem. What is causing the anxiety? What's causing your mental breakdown? What's like, you have to, first off, say it. You have to write it down, say it, because there's a lot of times where we get in our head and we'll try to bounce around the idea of like what's really happening, but nothing's really going to change unless you actually talk about it and you express this as a problem. Secondly, is when I was talking about respect. Respecting yourself and seeing if this is going to better your life or is it going to better the people's lives around you. If it's going to better the people's lives around you, then you're doing it for the whole wrong reason, and that's not respecting yourself. Like, well, how y'all had your scenarios with me. I talk about it all the time. How I wanted to hurt myself. I wanted to just leave the earth, but with that, instead of doing all that, I just did like silly. I went to the gym. I was like, you know what? Instead of hurting yourself like this, go hurt yourself at the gym. So I ended up going to the gym, hit a leg day, got really sore. And then from there, I was just like, you know what? Like, nothing's really going to change unless I change, unless the things I am doing changes. So I started going to the gym. I won't say I ate correctly in the beginning. I was pretty much starving myself, but it was I was taking one step at a time. First thing I did was go to the gym and try just making that consistent. Then secondly, then the food came. I was just like, you know what? I'm already doing like 110% the gym. Like, if I really want to see results, how about let's change up the food? And then from there, it just set up routines. That it gotten to the point where now, if I don't go to the gym or do my cardio, take my 10K steps, it feels weird to me
Mm-hmm.
because I have set myself up. I have set this expectation up for myself, and it's all around respecting myself and wanting to further in my future.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, absolutely. And there's a lot of like fitness coaches out there that are like, you shouldn't start your fitness journey in vain. Like you shouldn't start your fitness journey because of a girl. It should all come from within. All of the most crazy transformations I've ever seen started with vain or pain, and like Carlito said, instead of hurting myself, I'm going to go hurt myself in the gym. That's not a good reason to, that's not a good kind of, you're kind of replacing a bad habit with another bad habit. You're not fixing the root problem. But if you keep up with it, you start to realize it's literally part of the hero's journey. Like you get your heart broken, something really terrible happens to you, and that sparks something in you. You start your journey, and you start it for the wrong reason. You're on the right path, but you start it for the wrong reason. And then over the course of the journey, you start to pick the more proper paths because then you're like, okay, why am I actually doing this deep down? Is it because of this girl? Or is it because I hate myself? Is it because I know there's a part of me that needs to change that I haven't changed yet? Is it because I'm literally so scared to change my lifestyle? I'm literally so scared to change my habits. I fear change and fear being perceived so much that I'll do anything in my power. I'll put up any wall to avoid it, right? So, and then eventually you start to do it for the right reasons. Yeah.
Uh, so just for I don't know if y'all have had this experience, but for people that take the change or start losing weight because they think that like for vain for wanting to look better for women. I just want to let you know that I had more dudes hitting my line when I was 15% body fat than I had women. Actually, I had
They don't
more women.
care.
Yeah, more women were just like, yeah, you kind of look sick. Like they did not like it.
They don't
So
care about it,
No,
bro.
no,
That's
not at
one thing I
all.
realized. Literally, my girlfriend of 3 years, she's seen me at 240 when I took the dirty bulk too far, and she's seen me at 190 where I was prepping for a bodybuilding show, and she literally tells me like, I honestly would rather you be like closer to 240 because
Yeah.
like your stomach is squishy and it's fun to lay on. And it's like to us that sounds so stupid and ridiculous, but they don't care about how you look. They care about
Mhm.
who you are deep down. And that's exactly what I was talking about. The hero's journey is it starts off by I want to look better. I want to get all the girls. I want them to like me. And then you start to realize it was never about my appearance. It was about who I was inside that needed to change. And I did that through fitness, through fat loss. Um, so like when people, we're all trying to be fit. We're all fitness coaches or trying to be fitness coaches here. When people come up to us and need fat loss, they don't come to you to lose the physical body fat on their stomach. They come to you to change their lifestyle and change their mindset and become a confident person, right? And we just know what a calorie deficit is, and that's why they come to us, and we know how to structure that. But at the end of the day, that for someone that might not be fat loss, that might be joining a sport or anything that helps them go through that hero's journey and eventually end up as someone who's confident and competent, because competence comes from stacking confidence, building those wins each time, and basically saying you're going to do something and then actually executing that. And that's where that trust in yourself factor comes in. That's when you start to respect yourself. Is I used to always say I'm going to do stuff but then never do it and try to prove to people that I did it even though I never did it. So now I just do stuff but I don't tell anyone. And then if they notice, they notice. If they don't, I don't care because now I have that self-competence.
Yeah, yeah. I think all of us know like that experience when you go out to eat and you have to tell everybody that you're on a diet, or somebody who's done that, and like that's always the guy who's not sticking to their diet. Like,
Exactly. I created a guide on how to eat out. And one of the sections talks about if you're going out with your friends or with your family, do not tell them you're on a diet. Just order what you're going to order and be like, yeah, the salad sounded good today or the grilled chicken sounded good today. Do not tell them because it's not that they don't care about you. It's just that they're not going to understand. They're going to say things like, oh, it's just one night, live a little. But they don't have to live with the results of your shortcomings. You do. So you have to make that choice. And if you tell them, it just makes it harder. So just don't tell them. Just do it. And then 4 months later, 6 months later, then you get that real gratification of when they look at you and they're like, oh my God. Like in college, when I lost 100 pounds, it was in between 2 semesters. It was COVID semester. So we had like a 3 month long break because they didn't know what they were doing. I lost 85 pounds in those 3 months. I came back and, people would knock on our doors, our friends in the hall. I'd open the door and they'd look at me like I literally had 3 heads. They'd be like, "Oh, I can tell that's Sally, but like, what the fuck happened? Like that's the most gratifying feeling in the world. Way more gratifying than telling someone, hey, yeah, I'm trying to lose weight and then never do it.
yeah, 100%.
So
So, the next question I want to ask is how did your confidence change over time? So, like for instance, with me, I started off like how Sally was saying. I mean, pretty much like keeping my head down, like didn't want any kind of attention to, like I didn't want any attention on me. And then lastly, I couldn't be seen in public by myself. Like if I went to the store, I had to be with a friend. If I went to go eat, it had to be with somebody. Like you would never catch me going by myself when I was younger. Compared to now, I think I have a problem where I like being alone too much. Like I love going to do things by myself. I love hiking myself. I love going on runs by myself. Heck, I go. There's a running joke with me that I go to the grocery store almost every day. Like that's just I
same.
forget stuff. I forget stuff. So like that's the whole thing. But like
Mhm.
that that's how my confidence has changed. I can now go into public if someone sees me and they want to come conversate with me. It's no longer a tuck my head and hide. It's, oh hey, how you doing? Like, and then just talking about like what I've been doing with my life. And then with all that comes opportunities. The way that you perceive yourself, the way people see you. There's going to be people that like the way that you talk. There's going to be people that like how you smile, the energy you bring around the room. Those people are going to, if they need something, especially like weight loss. We're weight loss coaches. Isaac's actually working to be one, but we're weight loss coaches. And if people like the way you talk and they like the way that you like just perceive yourself and push yourself out there, who do you think they're going to call when it's time for them to have their problem solved?
Yeah.
Ready for this? I just thought of this on the spot. True confidence is being able to be cringe extremely comfortably, right? I always had this thing in my mind. I didn't want to look cringe. Like, I didn't want to post because I didn't want to be cringe. But to answer your question, how did my confidence change over time? It started off by not confident at all. And then I lost all the weight, and then I was overconfident. I had this huge ego, like I'm better than you because I lost 100 pounds. And then it turned into, and then the pendulum swings back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then after that, it was, oh shit, I am actually nothing. I haven't done anything. Like I'm no better than you, but I also like I still low-key hate myself. And then the pendulum swings, and then you have this huge ego spike. And then until you achieve that balance where you're like, you know what? I'm literally just gonna do what I want to do and not care what you think about it. I might value your opinion, and I'm not going to do some stupid shit, but I might value your opinion, but I'm not going to value it over my own opinion. Right. So I'll say it again because I don't know. I thought that was a pretty cool thing that I just thought of. True confidence comes from being able to be cringe and being extremely comfortable with it.
Yeah.
Right. So
That's tough. I like that. I want to piggyback off what you said about the pendulum swing. I think my situation is a little bit different than both of yours. I'm a little bit younger than you all. I'm still in college. So there's a huge social interaction factor that I have it's probably much different than either of you or anybody who's out of college. But specifically to people who are in high school or college. I'm still, if you guys are here, I'm right here. I had that same pendulum swing where I was super unconfident, lost weight, fuck everybody. I'm confident. Like I know. I hate fat people. I go back into this.
yes.
Back into this side of like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not confident. I don't know what I want to do. And so now I'm trying to not go all the way back to the other side and try and kind of sit here, hover around that middle area. And it's hard. It's something I have to, because I was so self-conscious when I was younger. I didn't put myself in these normal social interactions that a lot of people have. So now I'm having to kind of rework that and keep that balance that you were talking about. It's something that I have to push myself to do every day. And it's kind of what we talked about earlier. I have very small, obtainable things that I try to do every single week, giving somebody a compliment, so on and so forth, and looking to that every week and building that confidence.
Exactly. Yep. Just building it week to week. Are you good, Carlos?
Yeah, hold up. I'm moving.
All right, you're good. All right, so we're getting pretty late in this podcast. I kind of wanted to cut it under 35 minutes. So one last topic that I wanted to talk about, and see, this is where the confidence comes in. I'm trusting myself to think of something on the spot because I have no idea what I'm about to say next, but I know I'm going to think of something pretty cool. The last thing I wanted to talk about is what you guys are thinking about doing moving forward in order to keep this balanced amount of confidence where you're not letting your ego get extremely over your head. You're staying resilient. You're staying, you're kind of staying in your place without having that pendulum swing down again, right? Because I've always been an all or nothing type person. I'm either fat or I'm fucking 5% body fat. I'm either extremely confident or I hate myself and I'm not going to talk to anyone in the world. So what kind of things do you guys do to alleviate that pendulum swing back and forth?
I'll start off with having the right people in your life. That's a very underrated part of especially your ego, but building confidence is having people who are going to be beneficial to what you're doing rather than tear you down, or maybe not even intentionally tear you down, but put you in the circles that you don't really belong in. And that helps me a lot. People to keep me in check, and people who are also able to help push me. And for me, like social anxiety is a big thing that plays into my confidence. So having people who push me in a social setting, kind of hold my hand through that interaction, is really really important for me. It's just overall surrounding myself with the right people.
That's very, very important. Yeah.
You
What
repeat the
about?
question?
Yeah, the question was kind of a long question. I kind of thought of it off the top of my head. Was that a good question, by the way?
That was a good question. Yeah,
I trust in myself. See, I trust myself.
That's
The
awesome.
question was something like, so we've talked about how we have a pendulum swing, high ego, and then I hate myself, and then I love myself, and I hate everyone else, and then So how are you going to prevent those pendulum swings moving forward and try to stay somewhere in the middle?
That's a great answer. So actually, when I first I wasn't confident at all in the beginning, but actually when I got smaller, I still technically didn't have the most confidence. Um, it really just because I think it got to the like Sally, I did a bodybuilding prep, and when I got down there, especially when you're doing bodybuilding, it's very easy. First off, you're low on food, and then secondly, it's very easy to look around and kind of be and pick out things from other competitors. Like,
Mm,
oh, they have better biceps,
mm,
or hey, they got better legs, or they got a better back, or a V taper, things like that.
mm,
So, like, I wasn't very overconfident in that, and so I would get in my head. But one thing that grounded me all the time was what uh what comparing it really to myself. Like I had to really zone in that moment and just be like, hey, like and just be like, hey, like yes, there's a lot of people around here that probably do better than you in certain things, but it's like, how far did you come to get here? Like what are you gaining from comparing yourself to other people or other things, etc. And that really just was able to ground me because at that point I was like, hey, Carlos that was 350 pounds would have never stepped on a bodybuilding stage. Hey, Carlos that was 350 pounds would have never done coaching. Carlos that was 350 pounds would have never gone out of his way to talk to women, things like that.
mm-hmm.
And so that really is the thing that grounded me is just comparing. Like it's cliche, but really comparing myself to myself.
Bro, about the bodybuilding thing, because we've both done bodybuilding from, we both used to be obese and did bodybuilding. I always thought that getting to 10, I was like probably 9% body fat. So not quite 5, but about 9% body fat, which is very, very lean for someone who's natural. I always thought that being that lean would give me the confidence. Like looking at myself in the mirror and having abs would give me the confidence. But I shit you not. When I was, 1 or 2 weeks out, when I was looking my craziest, a week before the show, I had the lowest amount of confidence I've ever had in my life because not only did I look smaller, right? Because you're just a smaller human being. I felt terrible because, I wasn't eating food, which was just making me irritable. I was, I was negatively impacting my relationship with my girlfriend, and she won't say this because she gives me more grace than I should give myself, but basically I was just not treating her. I was treating the world as if I was being forced to do this bodybuilding competition. And I just had to realize I chose to do this. Nobody told me to starve myself. I'm fucking chose to do this. So why the fuck am I giving you shit for something that I chose to do to myself? So if if you're watching this, first of all, if you made it this far, I love you. But if you're watching this and you're thinking of like, oh, once I lose 100 pounds, that's when I'll be confident. It's not about the weight. It's about telling yourself you're going to lose 100 pounds and taking the steps to get there and completing all of those tasks, doing exactly what you tell yourself you're going to do. That's what gives you true confidence, because then you trust yourself and you become a person who does what he says. He walks the walk. So I like the bodybuilding example a lot. Yeah. Isaac, are you gonna hop on stage one day?
I don't know. I don't know. I've always, in the, it's there, but like in the future. Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to, build.
Yeah.
I want to build a lot before I
Right.
ever try and cut down that lane.
Yeah. No, I get it. All right, man. Well, this is getting right at 35 minutes here, actually. So,
It's perfect.
for all the viewers, if you actually made it this far, you watched all 35 minutes of this, because we're a small channel. We're just trying to help people out, provide value. We really appreciate you. We hope that literally our goal is to help. Like, we're obviously not being paid to do this. We're it's literally what is it, Friday night at 6 p.m. and we're here just trying to help out the community. You
Yeah.
know, so we appreciate you for watching, and if you did make it this far, drop a like, comment what we should talk about next, something you're struggling with, because we post a lot on Instagram and TikTok, but those are all like 15 to 30-second videos. We can't provide as much value. Here we're really thinking through our thoughts and giving like an insane amount of value if you actually are able to stick to. So anyways, comment what you want us to talk about next. Carlitos, did you have something to say?
Yeah, just end on this note. Though it's kind of like the wrap up on confidence. The way that the more confident you are and the way that you perceive yourself, I'm not saying to be I'm not saying to go out there and go talking to everybody, be super social and stuff. Just have respect for yourself and the way you carry yourself. It doesn't matter if this kind of relates to life in general. If you respect yourself and you have good confidence, you're going to be surrounded by good people. And what happens when you get surrounded by good people? You have more opportunities and you're able to just move on and better your life, really.
100%.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Isaac, any final words to leave the audience with?
No, man, just believe in yourself. No one's gonna believe in you until you do it yourself. So lead with that and let the results follow.
Yeah, and just remember, whenever you start a journey, no one's gonna hold your hand. People will congratulate you once you finish, but nobody's gonna support you when you start, because people don't care about you as much as you think, which that could be a good thing and a bad thing. It's kind of like, oh shit, like people don't care about me, but then it's good because people don't care. Like I'm free. Like I feel free. Like if so.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's it. That's all we got. Thanks for watching. Peace out. Oh, follow us on Instagram, Coach_Selly.
Mine is Carlitos_lifts.
That's CARLYTOS_LYFTS. And
Yeah, something like that.
something like that.
And then Isaac.
So at Isaac ISAAC.Scruggs SCRUGGS, TikTok and Instagram.
Awesome. Drop us a follow. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. Be good. Be confident. Bye.
Peace, guys.